Did you create, or what inspired you to
Mm-hmm.
create the program?
Oh, yeah, well, um, I got to thinking about, uh, which I do frequently,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what, what's going on in the world right now, what, and I'm right now I'm speaking to where I was at, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it, it was, uh, it was actually at that time more hopeful in general. So it wasn't like there was a serious strain on anybody. The pandemic hadn't happened yet. The current um, political climate wasn't going on that we have now in 2025. So I was just mostly reflecting on, okay, so how can I support people in having a level of spiritual, I guess you could call it spiritual confidence, so that they could get in touch with what they're here for. Why am I here? That's one of the biggest issues for most people is purpose. What is my purpose in life? And so, as I reflected on that and considering the training that I had that brought me to the place where I feel that I'm now ready to share that with other people, to give back, so to speak, what I was given. Um, it was it was just really clear to me that, first of all, back 10 years ago, a lot of people kind of had a tendency towards believing that developing that spiritual connection with that divine within us could be done in a weekend, you know, or maybe an extended course of 10 sessions or something like that. And granted, those definitely can help. I don't want to minimize those in any way. But one of the key things that I knew for sure is that it takes time to really make a transition within oneself. And so that was really what I got to thinking is like, nobody wants to spend 12, 5 years of their life living in a commune anymore. Those days are gone, I think, pretty much. And so, how can somebody still get that core experience in a way over time that will allow them space, which happens within their own day to day life, for those ahas to come up in them and for them to have experiences, to interact with life in ways that they learn the things that they need to learn about themselves. So with that idea, I thought, okay, well, I just started with what are the core pieces of that type of program? And really, that's what the action, devotion, and contemplation principles are about, because those are in every single spiritual belief system that we have on the planet right now. And from that place, I just organized the things that I learned in my spiritual training and experimentations that um, I thought others might enjoy trying too. So that's how it began.
Would you touch on what action, devotion, and contemplation are?
Well, the program, Your Path, Your Spiritual Satisfaction, is the way that I describe the name of it is a way to describe that these principles will apply no matter what spiritual path you choose, or if you're exploring which path is right for you, because some people are raised with no spiritual exposure. And then there's others that are raised with a particular spiritual exposure, and they're raised in it, and it's really embedded in them. But then some people find that after a while, no, this really isn't right for me, or they want to take it deeper so that it becomes more right for them. So there's lots of different angles of approaching it. And so if you start with the action one, which is really the simplest because it's mostly about our physical outer world, um, that addresses things like sacred space Everybody needs to have some sacred space in their life, in their physical world. We, of course, the true sacred space, sacred temple is inside of ourselves. However, you got to start outside. That's where most people have to start. And it's really just practicing in the outside of oneself in a sacred space, creating sacred space, uh, cleansing it, um, charging it with the energy that you want to have it charged up with. Uh, and as we do that kind of thing with something outside of ourselves, like it could be just a quiet chair in the corner of a room that you can have no disturbance for 15, 20 minutes, you know, doors on it you can close, that you start to just get that sense of what sacred space really feels like. It's like you're getting familiar with it so that you can start recognizing it in yourself, inside of yourself, in your heart. And then also the practice of using the sacred space is very related to the concept of how we are in an uncomfortable fact is that we are responsible for the thoughts we have. And nobody told us that, you know. I was 19 at least before anybody even said that kind of thing to me. It's like, what? What? You know, and so having sacred space to be in, you're just with yourself and you start to know thyself. And part of thyself is the mind. And so you're developing a new level of relationship with yourself when you have sacred space. So that's just one thing that's in the realm of action. There are several others that are in the program. And right now, I haven't taught it in a while, and I don't remember every single detail of it, but that will be easily discovered by whoever's listening and watching. And then devotion is more focused on different kinds of practices of how to connect with the sacred within ourselves. And there's lots of different ways to envision that. Now, some people or let me just say, I'll take away the word some. I would say the average person doesn't really have a challenge with visualizing inside themselves. There are some people who can't visualize, or they have limited, it's a range of ability, and it might be limited. So there's ways to approach configuring, so to speak, that sacred within ourselves as an image of something or a concept of something, whether you're visualizing it or you find another way to do it. And in Tree of Life Sanctuary knows of people that have done that for themselves. So it's proof that it can be done. But you visualize, for example, the training I went through, that higher part of myself, that sacred self, is called the Holy Guardian Angel. Others call it wise self. Others call it inner teacher. And it's really up to the individual to decide what works for them. So that's one example, is the concept of devotion is developing the relationship with that higher sacred self. And there's different ways to do that, which are covered in the program. And then contemplation moves more into the realm of really working with the mind in different ways, not just sitting and listening to it and trying to manage it, but also using things like mantra. I can't think of all of them right now, but there's several different ways that are offered in the program that we can not only get to know what our thought patterns are and which ones and begin to consider which ones we want to allow and which ones we want to change. We also can develop the ability to move even beyond the thought. That's getting into the higher states of consciousness. And that's the piece on the mountaintop that you were talking about, that your mom points out. And really kind of what this program can do is, the way I just would describe it is, it allows a person to live the life of a monk while doing their day-to-day job. And ideally, fulfilling their life purpose. And the life purpose is covered in the program too. That's, I think that's in the devotion section, I think.
I was wondering, is that something people learn in the info session, or like what is the info session like? Does it kind of give a general overview of the program, or does it give a general overview of like contemplation, action, devotion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do people walk away from the info session with?
Well, the info session accomplishes a couple things. First of all, when you register for the info session, we plan on sending you the assessment to help you figure out where are you at right now in that realm of those three principles on a scale of like 1 to 5, 1 to 10. Because it's really important to have a way to measure and prove to yourself that this is working for you or not. And if it's not working, you got to figure out why, and there's support around addressing that. And then in the info session, we talk about the assessment a little bit, get feedback from people from their experience of having done the assessment, which is no charge, with Lynn Brisden, our current coach for this program. And then we elaborate specifically on all the topics that are in each of the principles. So going into the program, first of all, it's a 21-month program from orientation to graduation. And that's on purpose. We want it to be slow and gradual. So we talk in the information session about what each of the topics are, so you get a sense of all of them in the whole program. And also a part of the program is an annual practice that we encourage everybody associated with the Tree of Life Sanctuary to do, which is the year-end life review. And that allows a person to take time before the holiday craziness, or maybe not craziness for everybody, but definitely requires a lot of focus when that time comes. So before that time, it helps people make space in their life to review how the year has gone. So we teach people in this program how to do that. So that's the essence of what you get in the information session. And of course we talk about pricing and the payment plans and all that type of thing.
Yeah. Even just being introduced to the framework of action, contemplation, and devotion is such a big value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For like your entire, you could be introduced to that, never take the program, and still add value to your life just by being able to structure.
Oh yeah, to think, to be exposed to that, and to even think about one's life that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your the spiritual aspect of your life. Yeah.
And then obviously on top of that, getting to see like a roadmap
Mm-hmm.
for each of those areas, and being
Mm-hmm.
able to kind of envision or imagine being able to grow and explore those areas with other people is really cool.
Oh, and that's a key part, other people. Group of 10 maximum. And the reason that it's important that you have other people involved in this process, in this kind of journey of know thyself, is that it can't be done in a vacuum. Unfortunately, for some of us, we have to have other people around us to help us see ourselves. And it can happen from somebody that adores us, or it can come from somebody that really is annoyed by us. So it's all good, and it's a safe space. And Lynn is an outstanding coach, so she's certified, fully trained, ICF credentialed, International Coach Federation. So it's a safe space for the group, for a group experience. Group coaching is a thing, a specialty. And I like to describe the experience of working with others as it's like taking a piece of coal and finding the diamond in it, and then the diamond is faceted, it's cut into facets. And when you have 10 facets, or even sometimes it works great with just 3 people in the program, you have, with a coach holding the space for all of this to happen safely and with focus, all of each facet is a different perspective of the core of the diamond. So that's the value of having a group.
Success stories, like what is there a success story or a feedback that you've gotten from the program that really stands out to you?
Well, there's a couple angles on that. Yeah, one is that we have one person in particular that I know of that has gone through it every time we've offered it, because she gets to have exposure to brand new people, and so she gets to learn more about herself. And she also can take all of the topics a little deeper in her life. That's a great success story, and definitely, she's thrilled with the results. Absolutely. And the other kinds of things that I have seen people gain from being involved in this program, finishing it in particular, is that they definitely step away from it with a huge increase in confidence in themselves as their own guide on their spiritual path. And when I say spiritual path, it doesn't have to be a named belief system of any kind. It may just be, Jesse's program, Laura's spiritual program, whatever, We have nicknames for ourselves. It could be anything. Janeway, Captain Janeway. The one in particular stands out where one woman came in, and this is virtual, and so she wasn't. It can happen virtually, is my point. You don't have to be in person for this experience to happen. But she came in and was really reticent about starting the program, and had the assessment with Lynn, and still was just not sure, because she was feeling like, this is my way of describing it. She's feeling like, oh, I don't know, this is an investment. This is a long investment in funds, but also in time. I just am not really sure about it. And she ended up deciding to do it. And one of her greatest challenges that she described after finishing the program that she had before was that she always felt like there was something wrong with her, because she didn't understand what all these other people were talking about around their spiritual life. And there was something in her, though, that was calling her. And yet she was afraid, like she was going to find out that she wasn't a good candidate or something like that for being spiritual. Well, in the end, she realized that there was nothing she didn't know. She just hadn't allowed herself to trust herself and to focus on the areas that she didn't understand and hear other people's perspectives in a safe space that allowed her to be comfortable going forward with those discussions and being in spiritual places without discomfort, physical places. So that's one. I thought that was really, really wonderful, you know. Um, those are the ones that stand out right now.
Yeah, like if you could kind of sum it up in a few words about like what at the end of the program you and the other coaches generally see as like the takeaway from the program.
In addition to the confidence in themselves, in oneself, there's a better understanding of the breadth of spirituality and the different ways that it can be expressed and practiced and explored. Um, there's a definite learning of how to really listen deeply to others and be open to getting ahas from hearing what they say. So we learn deeper listening. Well,
Yeah.
one other thing though that you're helping me get in touch with is that when we talk about the topics, this program is a group coaching program, but it's also a teaching program because the, there's 2 sessions a month. The first session is to teach the topic, and it's a very high-level overview so that each topic is really clearly defined and gives resources if somebody wants to research it further. I also have written articles for almost every topic, and they're on the blog on the Tree of Life Sanctuary's website. So the first session is a learning experience with some discussion, of course, afterwards with the group. And then the group, one by one, in the group, before the closing of the first session of the month, each person in the group thinks about the topic and is asked, what do you feel you could do with the information from tonight's or today's topic in the learning session and apply it to your life? How would that work for you? What would that look like for you in your life if you were to explore with this or experiment with it? And each person shares that, and it's really important that this group is held in confidence. It's very closed. People have 3 months to test it out to see how much they trust the group. And then the next time, the second time in the month, the second session, is all about coaching and sharing. And that's where each person, the topic is reviewed, because sometimes people need a quick review of what it was about. And then each individual shares what their experience was like doing what they wanted to do, what they said the couple weeks before. And that's where the diamond effect really stands up. You know, it's like, oh, and then you hear what the experience was for each individual. So it's not like homework, because homework, everybody has to do the same thing, you know. This is much more interesting because you have a maximum of 10 different reaches that people were going to go for, and hearing what their experience was like. And you know, success is great if you end up doing what you said you were going to do, but we learn much more from the challenges we might have run into when we do that in the 2 week in between the 2 sessions. And in that discussion time, that's when things just sort of like go, oh. And of course, Lynn, as the coach, she gets to know everybody really well, and she's able to ask really valuable coaching questions to help a person recognize what the solution might be if they ran into a problem. So that's 1 month right there. You know, you learn something, you think about how you might apply it to your life, and then you come back together and you see how it went, and you come away with feeling really good because you got some solutions or you had some successes, and you got to know people in a different way.
these uh, these monthly lessons, these monthly bundles of content, can they apply to any path, any spirituality, any religion?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that from the very beginning, that's the three principles: action, devotion, and contemplation can be applied to any religion, any spiritual belief. Um, and there's no rules about any of them being more right than the other. And it's a very inclusive, safe environment. You can be a Catholic coming in with a pagan, or a Wiccan is a better, proper name for it today. And they learn from each other. So it doesn't matter at all. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. All roads. What's that saying?
All paths lead to the same mountaintop. We're just riding different pack animals. You know, some of us are riding a llama, others are riding a horse, others are riding a donkey, some are on a camel.
Yeah, exactly.
Fill in the blank. Elephant. That's what I like to ride.
Yeah, so it really just requires um, an openness to trust and talk with others on different paths or the same path,
Mm-hmm.
and a willingness to go deeper in whatever path you want to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In fact, the topics bring in a bunch of different belief systems and demonstrate examples of how, like the concept of sacred space is addressed in different belief systems.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to mention? Any other pings?
Yeah, there is one more thing. Of course, Tree of Life Sanctuary is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, and that's on purpose. It was my intention when myself and the two other core colleagues in the Tree of Life Sanctuary at the time decided that, yes, we wanted to make it a not-for-profit. It used to be a for-profit originally in California. So we changed it to not-for-profit because we wanted to be able to have it be a business structure that, of course, makes profit because it needs to make profit in order to operate. But it's not about profit for members of the board or things like that, typical for-profit corporations. And also the other advantage of having it be not-for-profit is that this program, Your Path, Your Spiritual Satisfaction, can be offered with a price that is going to work for everybody. This kind of 21-month program out in the for-profit world would cost a lot, like at least $25,000. And the prices that we're offering it at this point in time are meant to be driven by people wanting to participate and not having to be working and earning a high income. Everybody's got a bunch of costs today. Raising family, if you're buying a home or renting, there's huge cost of living in general. So we purposely have our prices set for that in mind, and it makes us eligible to receive grants for doing this, for improving our world, and the United States in particular. And so that's really important for people to understand. You know, if we were a for-profit organization, we would be charging a lot more.
So I'm imagining being a person in the world who's um, working, again, like has a lot of costs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is feeling like they don't know how to connect with themselves spiritually, maybe is a little bit um, worried or overwhelmed with some of the things happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you touched on this being something that helps change the world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on a personal level. Could you speak a little bit to like that person in particular that's out there that might see this and how exactly this is helping to to be the change?
Help the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important. Well, um, the belief that I follow, that I choose to live, is based on the concept that everybody is here for a purpose. Now, that purpose doesn't mean that you're here to be, you know, a senator in Congress or to be the next Gandhi or anything like that. It can be those things, but it also could be just a particular moment in time. You're here to connect with a particular person so that they can be healed, so that they can hear something they need to hear, because of who you are and what you believe and your values and all of who you are here to be. Some of us are here to there's lots of things we do well, and some of us are here primarily to be one thing, like a parent, for example. Some women are just, that's all they can't, all their life, that's all they want to do is be a mom. But being a mom, as who they are, is influencing their children, it's exponential. And so that, it doesn't mean you have to be a public figure. It just means to know that's your purpose and to be good with that. And knowing that it's your purpose makes you be good with it. It makes you feel great about it, and it makes you do better at it. So that's one perspective. If there's somebody who has say as a young person, teenager, 20s, lots of times people just really don't know, even some people don't even really know what they want to do. And so they're just sort of trying things out, which is great because that's a perfect path to finding what you're good at and what you're not good at. And so as we refine that and we find a way to earn income so that we can have life and engage in society in a way with a job type of thing, that person will uncover in themselves the things that they're better at. And that's sort of I would say, like the first place of getting your clues of what your purpose is. What are you good at? And lots of times what a person is good at really doesn't fit in very well into a job. And you know what? Sometimes we're here with a purpose to be something that hasn't even been thought of yet in the world. And so you just got to keep working on nailing down what you're good at and continue to get better, even better at that while you're working a job, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's all honorable. Even garbage men have an impact on the world, you know. Delivery drivers, one little connection with another person and how you are with them is exponential. So the more sure we are about what we're good at, and then some people really get called to big stuff, making your way to that level of whatever it is. That's how it works. That's how we make everything better on this physical plane called Earth. And our species has been working on this for a long time.
It's true.
A long time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, we're the species that's supposed to be doing it, so we got to keep working on ourselves.